I'm Dennis Hudson at orangequant.com. Welcome back. We're still working on the SPY. We have done the SPY yearly, quarterly, monthly, and now we're going to do the weekly here. Incidentally, in the last video, this is Hurricane 10. This video here is Hurricane 10. If you go back to Hurricane 9, I had said we're out of time right near the end of it, but we weren't out of time, and after several seconds I realized that. So you might have missed the last little bit of the discussion. You might want to go back and catch that and hear it all the way through. Okay, we are talking about the weekly on the SPY here, using synthetic trend lines from the FLIR2 ebook, which, like I say, gives me a lot of comfort. Those methods and strategies. You will want to get yourself a download over there, I would think. Okay, let's look at the SPY weekly. Here's your SPY weekly chart, and now this is, I don't even have all the trend lines on here because I set up some longer term and some short term trend lines for synthetic trend lines for this, and it's really tough to jam all this in and make it still clear. So at a certain point I'm going to have to tell you where something happens that's not actually drawn on the chart. So let's start right off. You see those circled yellow dots? There's one right there, and there's one down over there. Okay, those mark inflections. And this week, right now, today is March 11th, Thursday, March 11th. And so on the weekly, we are in the week of March 8th. That's that last little green candle over there. And you can see that we either have an inflection this week or next week. It looks like kind of this week is the inflection more so than next week. But when you draw these synthetic trend lines, if you haven't drawn them perfectly, then you know, that's why you get kind of in between candles. Okay. Now the yellow, pardon me, the yellow bullseye out there to the far right is approximately the week of August 2 or August 9. Okay, and it's more likely towards the end of the week of August 2 that inflection gets hit. And it's right over there. There is another inflection here that's going to kick in about 3 weeks from now. So you have to look at the videos on trading inflections on the orangequant.com website. You'll understand the significance of this and how to trade it. But that other inflection, which as I say is not yet drawn, is actually coming at us right about there. Okay, so that looks like it might be about 4 or 5 weeks out. As I say, I couldn't put all the synthetics on here because I was using two entirely different sets of synthetics. The bright red are more fresh, they're more short term. The purple ones are longer and older synthetics. Now you can see what a strong synthetic that yellow one is. That's actually one of the older synthetics. You can see how strongly that has acted to describe the path, the mean path of price along here. So it may oscillate up above that yellow line yet, and but it still is going to be bound by that upper pinkish line if it does get up there, and I actually don't expect it to make it up there for reasons I'm going to go into right now. You see this very strange thing that looks like the bat signal up there. Okay, what that is, as a currency trader, I just want to share this with you. This pattern like this is a very interesting pattern. I call it the Keyhole Pattern, and that is kind of what we're forming up here. If you look over here, back, where we are now, you can see this sort of keyhole forming right here. If it forms properly, and the way it should form is either this week or the next week should go exactly up even with the left side of that keyhole that's forming. And then it'll start to kind of slope over to the side. That's not really, it is a double top, but as a keyhole setup with these very even looking tops to it and very steep sides, okay, that once that's over, what happens is, as I say, having traded currencies, I can tell you how this plays out. What happens is it just really goes down like that, okay? So that's something to keep an eye on and see if that keyhole forms. And then that would take the SPY down pretty hard. And by the way, that is supported by the idea of the SPY coming up to that yellow synthetic trend line and not being able to get through it at all. So that could be the pattern that's setting up. Just get ready. Now you may wonder what's the point of all these charts, since I don't come up with a specific, I have specific dates, but I'm not really saying, hey, here is where the whole thing collapses. That's because as I have developed these charts, I haven't like cherry picked or tried to make them cohesive in any way. I've just done them, and you see them as I do them, and I don't know what the next one is going to look like. So you're kind of going along with it right along as I am. And the conclusion that I'm reaching about this crash, which I believe is inevitable, is it won't be a typical crash that just goes boom straight to the bottom. I think it's going to have multiple legs lasting 2 and 3 months at a time, and then a bounce, and then another set of multiple months. And so it's going to have multiple legs all the way out to, if you go back and look at that previous video, all the way out into 2012 before we finally, sometime in 2012, find a bottom. But towards the end of this series, I will come up with something pretty firm about what I think about all this, and you may have your opinions. I'd love to hear about it. Please post a note where you see the comments section for the videos. Okay, that's the end of Hurricane 10. In Hurricane 11, we're going to move on to looking at the SPY and possibly the VIX through the eyes of H205. I want you to have as many views as possible. That's what I want. And you may ask yourself, the thing is, if you aren't willing to do the work to study this stuff, then you really don't deserve to be protected, and you don't deserve to make a buck. It sometimes takes work. Go back, look through these charts, look at some other charts. I don't know, make your own charts and look at them. It's worth doing, and because we're looking at a kind of a crisis phase coming on to us. It's worth doing, and that's why I'm being so tedious and careful in how I set this up, so that I get the right picture and so do you. I'm Dennis Hudson, orangequant.com. Thanks for joining me. And darn it, I forgot again to take us down here to that special study down below. So as you can see, that's topping out right here on the weekly. Okay? Alright, that's another sign of things to come.